This art show has 50 pieces of art from 28 countries. The kids, these are all children who've taken part in our ArtLink exchange, classroom-to-classroom exchange program. And we selected the pieces for the stories, the amazing stories that each of the children told. And as you go through that exhibit, you're going to be regaled with stories after story that are very meaningful. And if you look at the art, enjoy it, but also read the artist's descriptions to hear what those stories are. It's an amazing experience. So as Mickey said, my organization's Creative Connections. We're a nonprofit, classroom-based facilitator of virtual exchanges. Through our Global Voices programming, we connect young people around the world, first through the exchange of visual and performance arts, and subsequently through live dialogue sessions over Zoom. Our goal is to empower students, transforming their authentic peer-to-peer interactions into cultural understanding and a commitment to global citizenship. We feel strongly that we want students to feel part of their world, that what they do matters to other kids and other people around the world, and to be active participants in that. After our talk, I hope you, if you haven't done so, consider stopping by our table here, manned by Creative Connections programming person, one of our programming team, Annette Thompson, to sign up to be on our mailing list and to find out ways to support our work through volunteering, through charitable giving, of course, but also to share our programming in area schools. If you know of a school who would like to do an international virtual exchange through the arts, we'll give you information for how to connect those schools with us. We'd love to find more schools that would enjoy working with us. In that programming I talked about, we encourage participating students to share their own stories through the exchange process. We've discovered that authentic storytelling has a power to communicate and to move others that's unmatched. Which brings me to the distinct honor of introducing to you one of the most masterful storytellers I've ever experienced or heard. He's a wonderful musician and a wonderful, impactful human rights activist. His name is Arn Chorn-Pond. It's who you came to hear tonight. A personal experience with Arn. So my family and I, my two kids are with us tonight. But we all went to Cambodia last November, and Arn's organization, Cambodia Living Arts, which you'll hear more about from him, took us on a tour of the work of the committee and took us to the sites where some of the story he's about to tell you tonight actually took place. The Buddhist temple, various villages and things like that. It was the most moving experience I've ever had. And again, I think by his storytelling to you tonight about that, you'll see why it was so impactful. It was an unforgettable experience. So, the power of arts to bring healing and reconciliation in times of conflict is Arn's timeless message, a message that's so relevant today amongst the conflicts the world's experiencing in the Middle East, in the Ukraine, and the deep political divides in the U.S. I mean, how does art really help address that? Well, I think Arn will give you a few clues to that tonight. You should know that Arn received the Amnesty International Human Rights Award, the Kohl Foundation International Peace Prize, and the Spirit of Anne Frank Outstanding Citizen Award. He has shared his story with U.S. presidents, with congressional and government officials from the U.S. and other countries, to religious leaders around the world, at schools, universities, conferences, and places of worship, including he spoke to 10,000 people at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York, and made a wonderful impression, a huge impression on those people. We are so welcome to have him share his story with us tonight, so let's give a warm welcome to Arn.
Hello, everyone. In Cambodia, they do this too. Yeah. My name is Arn Chorn-Pond. I founded Cambodian Living Arts in Cambodia now, and I'm a survivor of the Cambodian genocide during the killing field. It's known as the killing field. I just want to probably Thank you for coming tonight and for all of you. And I feel very welcome here. Today I was in the high school around here. Alan took me to the high school and shared my story to the high school kid. I was always nervous about, their attention span is very short, so I always know. I'm nervous here too now, but I feel safe, much safer, so thank you. And I asked the children today about where Cambodia, if they know where Cambodia is on the map. It's hard for them. They've heard about Cambodia, and also they've heard about the Khmer Rouge. They've heard about the Vietnam War, but I don't know whether they have any ideas about what really happened there. So it was good to be there today, and a lot of questions after that with the global exchange student. And I'm sure you're aware of where Cambodia is. In Southeast Asia, a very small country and a beautiful country near Vietnam, Thailand, and Laos. So it's a Southeast Asian country. And the golden age began in 1950 on to 70. So we had a 20 years peaceful time. Before that, Cambodia was colonized by the French for 100 years. So luckily, and we had, and it was ruled by a king, a well-known king, Sihanouk, who rules during the golden age, the 1950 on to the 60s. And I wasn't born yet. Then the end of the 60s, I was born. But during the golden age, there were like these people here. He's like Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley. You hear on the radio when I woke up in the morning in the 70s that they were singing on the radio and stuff like that. Every morning I would get up hearing their song. And the architecture is beautiful over there. And many of their songs also, somehow later on, I was able to connect, it's rock and roll. It was rock and roll. And I was supposed, in 1970, I know who I was, 1973, 74, only short time. When I knew who I was already a homeless boy. And we knew that war was happening. We also heard about Vietnam War. I had no idea, and I don't really care. I was 12, and I was enjoying with my little brother, American ice cream and the French bread. It was really good, crispy French bread with ice cream, and every morning I eat that. And listening to rock and roll and their voices on the radio. That's what I remembered, and it was beautiful. And whenever I hear on the radio rock and roll, I would come out from the temple and dance, the rock and roll dance. And I was not supposed to do that. So I went back sometime to the temple. I was whipped by the Buddhist monk. I was supposed to meditate and learn Sanskrit. But I was a bad boy, so I was beaten up by them. I didn't like the temple life very much. You work hard. You get up in the morning, 12-year-old kids, So I also run out into movie theater. I would watch Kung Fu movie, an American war movie. We walk out with my little brother and little sister that I love. We would imitate Kung Fu movie and shooting, American movies, and I would beat my brother up, pretend like you're a Kung Fu star and stuff like that. It was short-lived. I heard the artillery already grumbling around the city, but again, I don't know what it is. And then 1975, that when the Khmer Rouge came in, the king was coup d'etat by a general, his name Lon Nol. he was very much pro-Americans, and his government was became really corrupted. And then the Khmer Rouge fought against him. And that's when Vietnam War began, and then it spread into Cambodia. We were not involved of any means in that war. That's when I knew later on that Cambodia was dragged into war. That's why American began their campaign of bombing, I think in 1973 to be exact. That's the bomb I heard when I was a little boy. But I will tell you later, even before Pol Pot came in and took over, many Cambodians have died with B-52. You know, it was probably 500,000 tons of American B-52 dropped, not only in the Ho Chi Minh Trail, but all over Cambodia. And I think American president lied that, you know, that we don't drop any bomb and we don't do. That's what it's later on. When the Khmer Rouge came in 1975, they won the war. American left Vietnam, American left Cambodia. So this communist group came in, and I was taken to a temple like many children. There were about 700 children, and into a Buddhist temple, and they converted into a killing place where some of you have been, your family. It's been hard for me to go back there now. The killing was everywhere, and day in and day out. And we were children there, forced to live there and work there, like from 5 o'clock in the morning, wake up and return home, return to the temple where we sleep on the ground. And many times they forced the children to watch while they were killing. So I was forced to also play propaganda music, you know, in the middle of this killing that they forced us to watch. And the Khmer Rouge would come around, and they I don't know why I was so attracted to them. And they were after me, I know. That they look at my skin and my finger, they thought that my finger was like a little girl, that my family was from a rich family and that I was pro-Americans. They hate Americans, and I heard the word Americans all the time. But I don't know why they hate Americans so much, and why I've never met Americans. I don't know what they look like. So in the name of American, many people killed in Cambodia. The Khmer Rouge just slaughtered them, and we were forced to watch. It's hard, you know, like if you care about someone, or I saw what they've done, the Khmer Rouge. They play games with the dead, you know. And sometimes they have a soldier come to the center, and they keep beating them every day, and until they died, and they put the helmet, American helmet, on his head, and they put cigarette on his mouth, and they laugh. So something like this, they try to have us watch, and they said, if you do something like that, you will end up. So they brainwash us as a child. Also to play music. I was really lucky among the 4 kids who were forced to play music. There were also girls and boys, about 20 of them were forced to learn how to dance, their revolutionary dance. It was a very physical dance, and some kids died while they were learning how to dance, so the Khmer Rouge would give us more food to eat. Among the 5 of us, there were 3 or 4 boys did not succeed. They were slow to learn the instrument. There were different kind of instruments, but I picked up the something called like a dulcimer, and you hit it with the stick. And I knew if I do not master it soon, it's just a matter of time that the Khmer Rouge just slaughter me like everyone else, because they were after me all the time. So music literally saved my life. At this point, I just want to demonstrate. A song, I think a song on this flute, so it's not, I originally play that dulcimer, but I usually, the dulcimer, I play, sometimes they ask me to play for the Khmer Rouge leader, sometime where they have a conference, but mostly with the Khmer Rouge leader, they come and watch, they sit and watch, and brown faces. You know, I used to pee on my pants when I played in front of them, because if you miss a note, they'll kill you. But I know that there's only 2 boys left. So if they kill me, the other boys would take my place. So now I think if I miss a note, I don't think you guys would do that. So it's okay now. I mean, and this particular song, it's faster beat. You know, it's a revolutionary song. It's like a communist song. And it's like and the words, the lyrics, is like killing, hate, blood, and killing Americans and all that, you know. I can hear it today when I work with kids on the street in Providence or Lowell, Massachusetts. There's a rapper who raps about killing the cop, shooting the cop. Almost the same kind of hype, brainwashing, you know, for me. And I knew it was wrong, but that's what they want to do to us as a child, to hate. And I knew, you know, so I will play the song, a short one. Very short. It's strange to play with the instruments, their song, because this particular flute, usually in the Khmer tradition, they would play lovely song, a song from the past, you know, a love song, mostly love for nature and the beautiful. I will play 2 more songs while I'm talking. The last song will be very beautiful. You would like it. It's all about nature, about the love of tree, of flowers, and all of that. So from the past, that's what the Khmer Rouge want to eradicate. Anything that had to do with love, education. They burn everything. It's hard to tell me, where am I now? I don't know where we are now. I don't know how I survived that 4 years in that temple. That temple, I did not know. And only after that 4 years, the Vietnamese invaded Cambodia, the Viet Cong, who had just had a very good experience with American soldiers, you know, American loss in Vietnam War, you all know that. And they left Cambodia, and so the Viet Cong has really a good practice with war, full-fledged war. And now the Khmer Rouge took my instruments away. The Vietnamese invaded Cambodia and ousted the Khmer Rouge. And then, like thousands of other children, I was given guns by the Khmer Rouge to fight against the Vietnamese invaders. They had no time to train us. I was just 13 years old, 13 or 14 then, and starving. Only from that temple, on 700, only probably 40 or 50 left, survived that temple. I was one of the lucky ones. I think because also thanks to music, that literally saved me. I never thought of that, but many years later, that was why I returned to Cambodia and started Cambodian Living Arts, just merely to pay my respect to music. And also imagine, we were not Khmer Rouge, but we were forced to go into the front line and draw the fire first and to die first. They use us as a decoy. You know, like thousands of kids. I was in a special platoon. They knew they just want us to die, to go and die. They tried to save the Khmer Rouge soldiers for longer haul, longer term fighting against the Viet Cong. So they would push us to die first. And imagine seeing many children left and, every day shot. Again, a never-ending story for me. Seeing your friend shot. Children, they were children. And the feeling was that, I'm sure you know the feeling too. I never want to experience feeling of helplessness and powerless. I really hate that feeling. You see your friend shot and they still alive and blood was all over. You can't even hold them because in the war you got shot if you're not careful. So sometimes I left some time ago. I could not take it anymore. I left the line and I went off into the jungle by myself with the guns. And I don't know how I survived also in the jungle. It's a big tropical jungle in Cambodia. And you on your own. I was only, again, I dragged my guns, I remembered. And the guns that made from America was okay. It's smaller and it's less heavy. M16, I remember you can hold, there's a hand you hold. And the heavy one is AK-47 that made from China. And the other biggest one that much heavier than AK-47 that made by the Russian, longer than my body. I have to drag into the war. So I carried all the guns that were put forth, and I was probably stronger than most of the kids. And lucky I didn't get shot or blown up by landmines. Landmine was all over the place. And I'm not sure how I survived that war. While many kids, it was hard because you start thinking also, why all of them died and they've done nothing wrong? And why? What's special about me? So that question has been lingering in my heart for a long time and will be lingering for a long time to come. Not easy to survive that genocide, to survive the war. I might live with it for quite a long time. I'm dealing with it right now, I just want to tell you. And in the jungle, it was all right. There were no food, nothing, but you survived there were water everywhere. I walked on the stream, and you just follow monkey. Wherever monkeys are on the big tree, you can't climb, but there were a lot of monkeys, jerking the trees, and they were having fun. And the drops, you can just pick it up and eat it. Usually okay, because you don't know what kind of fruits it was. And there were wild animals. I sleep sometime on the tree, big tree, and I can identify some of the sound that they made. There were tigers, I'm sure there were at night. I wouldn't be a half of their meals, I was a little boy and probably 30 pounds I weigh. So, but I was smart enough to find way for me. And then there's one fruit that I make a boo-boo, I make mistake. It's like, it was like an apple, and I was so hungry, I remembered, and I just picked it up and just bite it, took a bite. And then there were a lot of maggots inside. I saw the maggots, but it consists of maggots inside. It poisoned a little bit, but it didn't poison I would have been dead. And I learned now next time you have to, but I learned now that most time when I follow the drops from the monkey, usually safe. So I just did that wherever. I don't know, seemed to be like forever in the jungle. But then finally, I don't know, I was unconscious, maybe I was blown away by the bombs, and I was rescued by a group of young women. They were Cambodian, but they were probably refugees. They took me to the camp and revived me. In the camp, I didn't know there was Thailand, that I was a little boy, I know nothing. I didn't know that people speak different language, people look different, I don't know. And in the camp, there's a man, they call him Peter. They call him American. So finally, I heard the word Americans and saw him, right? He tried to rescue kids from the flood, and it was at night, and he literally stepped on me, and that's how he sort of found me he grabbed me from the flood, and he saw my teeth. Later on, he told me, he said, the reason I found you was that I only saw your teeth because it was at night. And he stepped on me, he felt bad about it. Peter is probably 200 or 300 pounds, and I saw this white cloud coming, and I was hurt probably, and I screamed, and then he picked me up, and then the next day he come back, and I know he tried to find me among the children who died and who survived, so I make myself move around, so he saw me, I knew I had a feeling that he likes me somehow. So in 1980, it took a year probably from the camp. In 1980, he brought me to New Hampshire, White Mountain Regional High School. The next day, he took me there. Yeah, it was very hard. The school, I mean, I was outnumbered. I felt like the kids, like all white kids, there were no black, there were no Asian, there were nothing. They were stunned when they got out of the hallway. I heard the ring, and then I was stunned. Peter just dropped me there, and he left home. Even the principal know nothing about what just happened to me or Cambodia. They don't know. So the kids don't know either. So they were stunned on the hallway, and I knew that they never seen a black hair and a short nose boy before. So they came around and they started hitting me, in the head. And I shared today, the kids laugh in the high school. In Cambodia, you protect your head. Nobody hits your head. Culturally, they think that Buddha is in here. Nobody hits your head, and your parents lives here. So I said no, and then they keep hitting my head. Then I hit them in the ass. I hit them in the ass like this. They were mad. In Cambodia, it's okay. If the guy hit each other in the ass, okay, no problem. Here, you will not do it. I did not know that. So just that at the beginning of my life in high school. I was out of control, and I was, they called me monkey, and they said, go back where you belong. You don't belong here. Kids, they don't know that much. And they don't know what they're saying, it hurts. They don't know that. And in Cambodia, I probably would shoot them. This is how I solve problem with the Khmer Rouge. Nobody stare at you. Nobody even call your name like that. And I don't know. And then we always have fights in the hallway. And I told the guy I said, no, I don't speak the language. You see the problem that I didn't speak English. And the boy, those boys like blah, 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 high school kid, they blah, blah, blah their way, and they get off the hook. I broke the school windows, and I was really in a deep depression. I couldn't be able to find way to cry, like what I'm doing now. I would feel better if I can do it what I'm doing now. But no, I ran away from home. I went to the mountain. I ran away with my bloody shirt, and I was arrested by the police and brought me home. And I thought my Peter would kill me. I was bad. But Peter said no. Peter knew that. I saw him cry for the first time in his life. Peter is very strong. He never cries. And he looked at me in the face. I saw him he just do this, like we do the gesture. We don't talk. He can't talk my language. I cannot speak English. But I know this guy's serious about, he said, we are father and son now. So, you survived the jungle of Cambodia. You might not survive the jungle of New Hampshire. I knew he was serious. And he said, because, I know now why he's saying that. Because, physically I survived the Khmer Rouge and all the things, but this is really hard on my head. To take a bully, we call bully. I know I'm familiar with bullying. Overpower, shooting people and all that. I know it all. These kids do not know, and they mess around with the wrong guy maybe. But I try to find guns, but in New Hampshire, the closest store to your house is 15 miles away, but there were no guns anyway. But I feel the problem in high school was that I felt very, very isolated. Nobody, American kids busy kissing, and they have so much thing. They love mauling, and they. Why do they care about what I went through? And Peter really saying, Arn, you must learn how to speak, and you defend yourself, and you talk to the American kids and tell them your story. They will stop making fun of you. I didn't believe that in the beginning because they were busy kissing and stuff like that. I said they're not gonna open their heart for me. I was wrong. Few times my name is Arn Chorn-Pond. I struggled to find words. I was asked to speak the first time at the church, Franconia Church. And after I spoke, there was a little girl. I remember, never forget that, the white-haired girl come and hug me, and she cried. She said, Arn, I'm sorry for what happened to your parent, to your brother and sister. And she gave me $1. She thought I was living in Cambodia. And she said, $1 would go, she understood this. She said, $1 would go far in your country. I said, yeah. But she hugged me, and the first time for me, I know these children has heart. American children care. They're not that bad like I thought. I'm mad at them from making fun of me, but the older ones, it's hard, the high school kids. But this little girl, I think she was junior high school probably, and she came and hugged me and looked at me in the eyes and said, I'm sorry about what happened to you and your family. And she never, wanted to happen again in Cambodia or in America. She was so smart, that little white girl. And that really gave me a lot of hope, and I began to start speaking. She knew how hard it was to share that, little girl. I began to start also talking, and I believe that, American care. So I started raising money, and then I finished. I changed 4 high schools before I can speak English. 4 high schools. I could not only stay in school, but I have to get involved in many different things. I would go crazy if I only stay in school. So I snuck out and got involved with Amnesty International. When I was invited to speak, they heard me speak 1 or twice, and people say, oh, he's so good, he was so good. And so I was invited to speak at the Carter Center, where I met Jimmy Carter. And I ended up just like that, a blink of an eye. It's 10 years. I was volunteer to speak with Amnesty International, and Jimmy Carter was saying, oh, thank you so much for speaking for us. You were very good and all that. You want to go to college? I said yes. And he wrote me a recommendation to go to Brown University, where Amy Carter went at the same time, the same years. He said, I went there. Jimmy Carter told me that I went there, so it's not 100% guarantee, but I will write you a recommendation. he always feels sorry about what happened to Cambodia. It's all probably I want to hear. He said, I'm sorry, Arn, for what happened really to you, to your sister, to your brother, to your country. I wish I could do more, he said, about with Cambodia. But something happened, I don't know. That's what I also want to hear. But it was okay. And then I was able to meet, traveling around the world, and I meet many people around the world, young people I was attracted to, and I spoke and I played my music in Israel, in Palestine, and through Children of War that I co-founded, we talk about that. And I was able to learn, the issue in Israel, in Palestine, South African kids from Rwanda. I went to the township in South Africa. I probably was the first Cambodian Americans who goes there and play music, play my flute, and we hold hands, we dance. They teach us dancing. I play the flute for them, and they were still like a tank, tank came and shoot. I was there playing my music. So I like those kind of situation where music right in the face. I did that in Cambodia too early. We play music while they were like the Thai soldier and the Cambodian soldier fighting against something, I don't know. I went there and stopped them and play for 15 minutes for them, and they stopped fighting. And they give us even money, and they start coming clapping, the soldier, awkwardly, they start smiling and clapping, and then, okay, thank you, I go off. Maybe you can start fighting again if you want that. War and killing is just everywhere, and it will happen again. But the children that I have a faith in. So I go back after I started Cambodia, after I work here trying to help also gang members in the street of Lo and Providence to also save lives there. I burn out, and I went to Cambodia, and in 1998, I started Cambodian Living Arts. I found few masters, survived the Khmer Rouge. And this woman, she's in her 80 now, 80 years old. I don't know how she survived the Khmer Rouge, but I found her on the street drunk. They live in obscurity, and I call her by name because I remember I used to hear them on the radio every morning. And she was the last great opera singer ever. And my teacher, I saw my teacher again in Battambang, the province where I live, and survived the Khmer Rouge. He was also drunk and cutting hair for the ex-Khmer Rouge. And it was 23 years, I think, we were in separation. He recognized me right away, and he turned around and he said, "Where have you been, Arn?" I told him, "Oh, you wouldn't understand it. I went to America and blah, 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 He knew that I was a child soldier. We were separated then. I don't know. I saw him, and then he cried, and then he said, "Arn, please help me. I don't want to die drunk. I want to teach, I want to teach he's very good in fiddle. He played fiddle. And he said, please come back and have me teach. So that's what we did. A handful of masters I found, few other more. In the past, they were playing. I found out that the ladies there, Master Jake Maj, she used to sing for also, she mentioned Jacqueline Kennedy, who went to visit Cambodia in the 60s. She sang for her. She sang for the king. She remembered thousands of songs, and I found out that she doesn't know how to read and write. And just incredible woman I found. And now many masters in different art form, I found them mostly drunk also. Hopeless and hurt. Nobody knows anything about them anymore. But I don't blame, because everyone in Cambodia, we just finished war. The killing field is like make everyone like ghosts, coming back. and nobody can help anybody. I was lucky to be here on time and go back. So that's how we started it. 10, 15 years later, now we have tens of thousands of of young, they die one by one in our watch. This master, this treasure, they die. So we became like parents to me. It's hard on me again. They are my new family, and anyhow, they passed down their skill the best they could. Then now we have tens of thousands of emerging artists. I'm going to play another piece, and this piece is, I'm learning about the woman who dance, traditional Khmer dance. I would invite you to come to Cambodia and see all the dance. Traditional Khmer dance, beautiful, and accompanied by music. This is a little more gentler song than the first one I played for you. And it's accompanied dancing and singing and all that, but I will play the piece now. That's another piece. Later on, 5 more minutes, I will play the last song, much even more beautiful song. So the lyric of the song is not like the Khmer Rouge. The lyric I learned of this kind of song is talks about, beauty of the gesture. The girl dance gesture, they have to learn it from since they were little kids. And beautiful, and the gesture tell the story of how important it is to a tree, a beauty of the flowers, a bud, the flower bloom, and then it drops, and then it's a cycle of life. So these are the traditional music of Cambodia, a beauty, a love for nature and love for people and all that. I like that. Not like the Khmer Rouge. So music, now we are having a new generation of artists now. What do we do with them? They're now learning the traditional music, traditional dance and stuff like that. We have to think about the market. We have to think about, for them to learn, maybe they want to learn music and English, maybe they want to learn art management and all these things. So we are now becoming gradually Cambodian Living Art from a small organization, now becoming one of the most successful art institution anywhere in Cambodia. And now we provide grant and also scholarship. The board of the Cambodian Living Art have a scholarship on my name, so I was really, before I die, they say, we want to, thanks to you for founding this organization. So Arn Chorn-Pond scholarship, the kids over there never heard of a scholarship before, for hundreds of years. This is the first time, from an American point of view, for us in education, scholarship is really important. You see the kids who thrive, we give scholarship to them. And that's what happened now. We have 5 or 6 kind of scholarship, So we are the grant givers now as an organization. And we encourage these young people to not only play traditional music or learn to dance traditional dance, but we encourage them to create new things according to their time now. So they can express through their writing, through their poem, through their painting about what's happening with them now. So they love that. And so now we have to create we see not one tree, but we see the whole forest. How art can flourish, can help, not only entertain, but to help teach kids how to care about each other, to care about the environment. And it's still an issue in Cambodia, politics, and I don't want to talk about politics. They all, always a problem. So with Cambodian Living Art, we can get away, because we become big, and the children would come to not children, but young master came to us and, oh, give us a little, this grant. I want to say something. I want to create a play about we call domestic violence. We call environment issue and other issues that it's inside of them. They want to help the society to be better. Usually okay if they associate themselves with Cambodian Living Arts. So I'm very happy about our 20 more years in the future. We don't use the word democracy. Democracy for me, that's a politic term, and even the government today, they cannot tolerate, even though we had a free election for the first time probably ever in Cambodia in 1992 after the Khmer Rouge ousted. We have the free election, and they manipulate, but it's not my thing to do. But Cambodian Living Arts, we give each of the kids a laptop. The world is in their lap. They can play music with the American kids, and they can teach American through Zoom now. Technology is the best way. We don't have to say the word. I want to stop right here, and I will play the last piece. And am I okay with time? Please come to Cambodia. I would invite you, like Alan went to here with his children here to Cambodia, and I hope you liked your experience. And this community is so warm. Thank you. I remember I came here once, stay at your house. I didn't know that you came tonight and you live here. I didn't know that. So I would come again. I love this community. I would come again. So please come to Cambodia. We'll show you around through the arts and the culture. I'd like to acknowledge you. When Pekadei, could you stand up a little bit there? My first time in America. First time ever in America, and he's taken a lot coming here and seeing what we have here, and the student here. I took him to the school, and so he will host you in Cambodia through the lens of the art. So please come visit. And plus we have the well-known seven wonder of the world, Angkor Wat, still there. We're not going anywhere, but I think the living arts is also important for you to see. Kids will dance for you, will perform for you. Please come. It's the right time now to come. Don't leave us abandoned anymore. Please. I play the last song and we open the floor. This one is good. I love this piece because it's calmed me down from the past. Yeah. Thank you.